Hello string players, and welcome back to Advice for F-Holes. This week we're going to talk about back to school supplies, my favorite. So I've got some really good recommendations for you. First of all, your rosin. You know the one you broke last year in October and you've been mooching off your stand partner all last year? Get yourself some friggin' rosin. It's not expensive, it's easy to get. Get two if you're clumsy and you're going to break it, which means most of you. So I'm going to give you advice on all the stuff you're going to need for back to school. I am an Amazon affiliate, which means if you click on these links that are very convenient for you and you make a purchase, I get a little commission from Amazon. It doesn't cost you anything, but it helps me out and it helps out Amazon by promoting their products. So let's start with, okay, first of all, get your instrument out. Do you remember where you put it last June? Okay, is it under your bed? Go get it, take it out. Now, a couple things we need to think about is this here bow probably has no rosin on it at all. So let's talk about rosin, shall we? Okay, rosin doesn't have to be expensive to do the job. This little box of rosin, which you will see links to the mini rosin in my show notes, it's just your basic. Comes in a wood block. Some of them come in a plastic block. It's fantastic. Makes it a little better if you drop it. Look, it didn't break. Yay. Okay, hey. But it is all kinds of crackled and whatnot, but that's fine. It's going to work out perfectly. So all I'm going to do to get my bow up and going is just run my bow along it in a nice, slow, even speed. I could even practice my bow hold doing that. One direction until frog to tip that bow is coated. So this is your user-friendly basic rosin. It doesn't cost much. It's the way to go. If you want to get fancier, like I really enjoy Hill rosin. Okay, so here's another choice if you want to upgrade your stuff. I would think this rosin would be something really nice if you have a horsehair bow and a bow that's made of wood or carbon fiber, something that's a little bit more upgraded and you're working on stuff that's going to have some really fast notes or expressive passages where you're going to want something just a little more upgraded. So this is the Hill rosin, and it comes in this great little pouch, and then you get to do the same thing. You get to just hold it nice and neat and just rub it right across there with your nice bow hold. Sorry, totally do that. Okay, so there you go. Rosin, it's cheap and it's very effective. Next up, if your strings sound like somebody's playing a tin can with a hacksaw, you probably have some dead strings going on. Violins and violas, it's a classic that your highest string is going to go false pretty quickly in life. So if you've not replaced your strings in over a year, I would recommend, if you don't do a whole set, violins, replace that E string, okay? And violas, replace that A string. So these particular strings that I'm showing you are two choices that I've worked with an awful lot. There are a lot of strings on the market and many of them are wonderful. So if you're confused about what kind of string to put on your instrument, the Prelude Diodorios are very user-friendly. They're less expensive than most, but they're durable. They do a really good job right out of the package. So if you're kind of a beginner or you're, going to middle school and you practice some and you do a good job on your instrument and you need someone to freshen it up, this is a good way to go. If you practice more and you want to upgrade your sound a little bit, then I've used dominants for decades. I've used other strings as well, so I'm sure there are a lot of other ones on the market that are wonderful, but I find that dominant strings are reliable, they break in really fast, and they last a long time before they get that nasty dead sound that makes you just want to cry. So those are the two kind of string choices that I've got down below in my show notes because I know that both of those are going to give you what you need. So if you need to just buy one string to get that top string back in order, especially with all the third position you're probably going to be doing, that's going to sound a lot better on a better string, you know what I mean? It's still not going to sound great probably, but it'll sound better. those are down there. And if you need a whole new set of strings because they're all kind of worn out, it's been a long time since you've changed those strings, all of that's available to you. So do your stand partner a favor and get a new string. Okay, next we're going to talk about the problem with violas and violins when it comes to varnish. Varnish makes it look pretty, it protects the wood, but it also makes it really slippery. So when we try to hold it up, it slides all around. And then we end up doing things that are not good for our playing, like holding onto it way too tight and getting bad hand position. We also can cause ourselves some real damage by hiking up that shoulder in the back and hugging it with a lot of tension with my head and my chin. That's going to put a lot of strain right through here, and you're not going to want to play, and you're going to have to go to a chiropractor, all that good stuff. So we have easy ways to help you with that, to fix that problem. Okay, so first of all, we've got a neck that's longer probably than the width of your instrument. Okay, so I'm here with this, and I've got a little extra. So to make up for that distance, I can use a sponge like this one. Very good, very cheap, and very important. Okay, this is gonna keep it from slipping and sliding all over your shoulder. It's gonna prop it up a little bit so that it helps you keep it up nice and high like it should be to get that nice resonant sound. This is great if you're a beginner, if you're, still a young learner on your violin or your viola, it'll work for both. Or if you don't have a giraffe neck like I do, it's thinner. So what we're going to do is with the sponge, you see where your chin rest goes? Chin rest? You're going to put the thin next to the chin. Alrighty? Because the thicker part is going to compensate for that room here near your collarbone. Okay, so if I put that here, thin next to the chin, and I'm going to attach it with rubber bands, and I put it right here. Now look, hey, no hands, da, da, da. Cool. So what that does is, again, it keeps it from slipping with the varnish, but I also want to show you that, as you can see, it compensates for that distance between my neck, and it props up this end of my viola so it isn't flopping down like that. Gives me lots of room for my left hand to do its job rather than clenching the string. I don't need to clench. Okay. All right. So that is the sponge. If you want to get a little fancier with that, especially if you're a little bigger, if you are in a larger size viola, all the help you can get to hold that viola up nice and safe on your shoulder. The same thing goes with violin. And you're going to get fancier doing positions and all that good kind of stuff. Shoulder rest is going to do an even better job for you. So the first shoulder rest I'm going to talk to you about has been really reliable with my students, and it's affordable. Lovely. This is the Everest shoulder rest. Okay. And this one's for viola, but if you play violin, obviously you're going to get the violin version of this whole deal. All right. So as you can see, like the sponge, it has a side that's higher than the other, okay, so that it follows that angle of your shoulder. So this is the trick that I use for the quick trick to get the shoulder rest on the right way so you don't have it on backwards. So if you put it on like this and you hold it up and it's frowning, it's sad because you haven't practiced enough today. That's why it's frowning. Get your instrument out and get some scales going. So this is the shoulder rest that's going to do that same thing the sponge did, but with even more security, but also more adjustability. So with this, again, I have a pretty long neck. I can adjust the height of that so that it can really prop my violin or my viola up a little bit more. Frowning, it's in the right position. Okay, so here we go. Okay, that's too high for me because I'm reaching my head to try to get over that. So again, it's very adjustable. My neck isn't quite that long, so I'm going to make it so it fits just right and gets that instrument kind of parallel with the floor, if you will. All right, let's see if this works better. Ha! Look at that. I could do dishes. I could do my hair. You name it. I can do anything I want, and this viola is not going to go anywhere. And I want you to see, here we go. Look at my shoulder. It's so relaxed. I can do whatever I want. Okay, and my head, the weight of my head is holding it down in place. I'm not squeezing it. It just is lodged in there like a wedge. So the Everest shoulder rest is affordable, and it really does a good job with being adjustable and giving you what you need. Sometimes these little feet on it will get bent, especially if you are, like carrying it in your backpack or something like that. But good news, they sell replacement feet for these. So if you buy one and 6 months down the road, these things are giving way, don't worry, you don't have to buy a whole new one. You can just buy replacement feet for them. Pretty snazzy, right? I know. All right, there's another brand that I absolutely adore as well for violins and violas, and it's very similar. This is kind of like the big daddy of shoulder rest. This is from the Wayback Machine. It's been reliable forever. This is a fantastic shoulder rest, and I think this particular one, I don't even know how many decades old this one is, but they last forever. They're a really great shoulder rest. Same thing, they're very adjustable. Some of the models of the Kuhn shoulder rest, the feet kick in so you can make it compact and put in your case. I know, right? That's pretty slick. So again, it works the same way as the other one I just showed you, where you're gonna make a nice frown, and then it goes right up here, and you can adjust it further back or further closer to your neck, whatever makes that really comfortable. And look, I'm up and down that neck of the viola, no problem. All right, so those shoulder rests would be a great investment for you to have. You'll have them for a long time, and it definitely will help your playing be much better. And it won't have that violin, viola, it won't have it slipping down here. You won't get in trouble for pizza wrist or squishing bunnies or whatever that thing is. Oh gosh, that's offensive to even look at. All right, so get a shoulder rest. Next up, you're gonna need a new book probably this year. So let's discuss what's out there. First of all, many of you may be using the Suzuki method, which I am a personal fan of. I started in Suzuki in 3rd grade when I started playing violin. It's wonderful, the music is great, and now you can watch YouTube videos of people playing all these songs. Like, we had to buy an album back in the 70s, and if you had a record player, and then half the time you'd scratch your record and then you were done. So the beautiful thing about these pieces is if you listen to them, they're gonna get stuck in your head and they're pure beauty, and then you're gonna learn them so much faster. So you lucky ducks, you buy the book, you watch it with YouTube, you study it with your teacher, and you're gonna have this great repertoire of music under your fingers. So there you go with that. Now, most of my subscribers are in school or learning outside of school. I have a lot of adult learners that are following this. The districts where I teach, most of them are using the Essential Elements book. So I'm going to talk about this one a bit today. There are many great method books out there. I know that the people that are watching me, many of you use this one, so I'm going to tell you a little quick thing about the Essential Elements for String series. So we've got book 1, we've got book 2, we've got book 3, but book 3 has a different name to it. It's called Essential Technique for Strings, but it is, you'll see over here, it's the book 3 of this same series. Okay, one of the things that we don't talk about a lot with this book is the fact that it is compatible with Smart Music. So if you subscribe to Smart Music, it's going to work really well. You can play along with accompaniments to all of these, because let's face it, method books can be a little boring. By a little boring, I mean they can be really boring, really boring. So as we're learning those skills that are essential, ting, if we're learning those skills that are essential, how can we kick it up a notch so that it's more fun? Well, there's the smart music option, but also these books have essential elements interactive going on with that. So there's a code over here where it'll say student code in the book. You go to the website, you enter the code, and you can download accompaniments to go along with your practice, which is so much more fun because playing violin, da, 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 da. Yeah, after a while it can get a little old, but if it's got a jazzy little background to it, you're going to want to play it again and again because it's going to sound really pro. So the Essential Elements book and the Suzuki book, I have many of those books featured in my show notes. Should you choose to buy one from Amazon, just click on it and you are ready to get it delivered and ready to get playing. Thank you for tuning in today and listening to my back to school suggestions. I hope that I narrowed down your options a little bit to make it a little less overwhelming, because sometimes when you're just looking on a website for ROSIN, you get 4,822 options. You don't know what is worth buying and what's not. I definitely hope I've narrowed those things down for you a little bit and get some ROSIN. For the love of God, ROSIN your bow. And I'll see you next time on Advice for F-Holes. Thank you for listening to Advice for F-Holes. Please subscribe and share your comments below so we can have a great conversation.